Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson did some wild shit about this to us the other day, but yeah.
So while they're talking about this guerrilla going on, have you heard about what's happening in Burkina Faso with Ibrahim Toure? That's what I'm saying. Don't let this shit distract you, bro. Stay locked in.
Anthony Joshua got asked a bizarre question. How many of you to beat a gorilla? Joshua didn't flinch. Instead, he dropped some serious wisdom. He shot back, have you seen what's happening with Ibrahim Traore in Burkina Faso? Everyone with a voice and a platform should be supporting Ibrahim Traore. In a world full of distractions, focus on what truly matters, and remember, use your voice to support Ibrahim Traore and Burkina Faso.
Shout out to Anthony Joshua. I definitely agree. We covered this on this platform. For anybody joining the stream or watching from home, welcome to another installment of a live stream. I'm your host, Lord of Lips here. And you guys already know what to do, really. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, tell a friend to tell a friend, comment, share. We need all the engagement we can get. And I do appreciate that as such. So, but yeah, shout out to Anthony Joshua, who, diverted. It's one of those things. We know that when there's things going on, there's a section of people out there that go, okay, what are they distracting us from? And, that kind of talk has gotten annoying out there. But it's a legitimate question sometimes. It's like, what are they distracting us from? And I mean, in this case, the last month or so, or a little bit under a month, everybody's been kind of discussing the whole gorilla or ape situation versus man. And Anthony Joshua took the time to say, no. Ask me some serious questions about what's going on in Burkina Faso with Ibrahim Traore. And like I said, we covered that on here, multiple streams, and we're going to touch on it a little bit on this one as well. But I just want to give him a grand shout out for that, because I love him kind of shining some spotlight on that situation over there. And it's kind of like what I said on one of my streams, or maybe I said it to one of the homies, I can't remember. But our job, I don't have a lot of power. We don't have a lot of power. But what we do have, people that have platforms and voices, even social media presence and stuff, it is our job to kind of highlight and spotlight some of these situations and these people that should be spotlighted and highlighted, whether it be good or bad. It is our job to do that. In this case, with Burkina Faso, we want to highlight it so we can act as sanctuary, so we can act as protection for this man. I feel like the more we highlight this situation and the more we cover this situation, the less likely it is for the enemy to be able to come in and conquer and divide, which is their normal tactic. So just to brush up on it, as we talked about before, Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso has shaken up the global order of things. I think just as recently as this week, he has gone on a trip to Russia to meet with Vladimir Putin and some other world leaders. I think North Korea's leader was there. I think I don't remember if Xi Jinping was there, but I know some of those world leaders were in this little summit, and Ibrahim Traore met with them. Now, this is really, really, really important, because one of his moves, besides the gold reserves that France is meddling and all involved with, is also joining BRICS Plus with Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And as BRICS Plus continues to grow, in fact, I would love to see here. Let's see who's all in BRICS Plus. BRICS. Let's see who's all in BRICS. Let me share my screen. Sorry. Let me go back. Share my screen. Yeah, so these are the members of BRICS Plus. Right now, it's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the United States, the UAE. So these are members of BRICS Plus, and that list continues to grow. They are working with Ibrahim Traore to get him away from the meddle in hand of France and that subjective control that France has maintained, the colonialism that France has maintained over that region for a long time. And like I said, Traore has done a great job in being able to financially stabilize his country. I think I've also seen that he is now offering free housing. They got a whole bunch of kind of like Gaddafi, but they have a whole bunch of like flats and apartment buildings and stuff like that that are going to house any of the remaining homeless people in that nation. The security for Burkina Faso is top notch right now. I'm talking about high end, high tech security for this country right now, as it should be, because you are going to be getting a lot of detractors. You're going to be getting a lot of enemies, and a lot of it could be a coup. A lot of it's going to be trying to come from within inside that nation to overthrow this man. But yeah, shout out to Anthony Joshua for putting the narrative right back onto him. I want to see if Burkina. Oh, whoa. So Burkina Faso is not a member of BRICS organization just yet. BRICS consists of the people we said. He has not been announced just yet, but he sets his sight, like it says here. He set his sights on BRICS. Now, obviously, let's see. I want to see, like, they had this meeting this past weekend. Let me see if I can find something on it. I'm gonna stop sharing for now, but yeah, I know they met. I'm gonna find something on this meeting that they had, and it's just a really powerful thing. And to Anthony Joshua's point is that it's really interesting for you guys that are interested in this gorilla and this ape and this 100 people. No, we're watching it in real life. Sometimes it just takes somebody to be able to grab your head and show you what you're watching. You know what I'm saying? Although you can't make a horse drink water, you can lead them to water. And like I said, with platforms, it's our job to at least lead the people to water. And I just do want to say that we are about to watch. I guess I shouldn't say it, probably has some racial undertones, but I was going to say we're about to watch a gorilla take on 100 human beings. We're about to take this one man, Ibrahim Traore, take on the global the global deep state of I think I got somebody in the chat. Please get off live and get the grill warmed up. I should have opened with that. Happy Mother's Day to you, Mahadi. Happy Mother's Day to anybody out there watching. Happy Mother's Day to my sweet mother. I will be seeing her later on today. We are supposed to be barbecuing. That is what Mahadi is alluding to here. Apparently, I'm supposed to be on the grill. That is not going to be happening, but I will be there in full support. I will not stop streaming. I need to get this stream out the way so I can get over to my parents' house to start this barbecue. But anyways, Ibrahim Traore is taking on the top leaders in this world. So Anthony Joshua said, enough of the gorilla taking on 100 people. Let's watch this man take on 100 people. And we shouldn't just sit back and watch either. It's not something that we should just sit back and watch this man. We need to help assist him in this effort. It's going to be a tall task for African nations to deal with decolonization. You see the situation going on over there in South Africa with the South African situation, who has been under apartheid for decades, and it is in an all-out fallout right now because they are trying to decolonize the situation, and there's a lot going on with that situation over there. Also, you see in India and Pakistan right now, which is currently going on. They were in a, I mean, they're still in a war. There has been I think, um, the United States ordered like ceasefire that was announced either yesterday or 2 days ago. But before that, it was escalating into a real serious situation, and they're both nuclearly armed nations there. So, um, my point is that as we see some of these colonized territories begin to be kicked out of places that they colonized, it becomes a very dangerous situation, and we have to keep our eyes on the situation as well as support these people, including Ibrahim, during this period. Let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can find this video of him meeting with them. Man, last time I did this stream, I don't know for what reason. Yeah, right here it says my content was removed due to a violation of our community guide. Like, I don't even understand what I did, but I really don't understand what I did to keep getting copyrighted. On last stream, I didn't even play no video. I don't know what I did. I ain't watching a 9-minute video or no 20-minute video. I need a quick little video. I know they got some shorts. It's my anxiety. Whoa. Hey, Doshi had a little record with the Weeknd this weekend that I'm gonna cover too. I know everybody's getting tired of her, but it is what it is. I can't find the video that I'm looking for. Let's see. Let me share my screen. On a serious note, what are some ways we can support his effort? That's a good question. I said earlier, I think the start is for us to, again, like Anthony Joshua stated in the beginning of this podcast, it is for us to highlight his efforts. That's the first thing. I think one of the real tragic situations about the Libya situation with Gaddafi was us in the West, we weren't aware and conscious enough of his efforts of what he was doing, and we were subjugated to the propaganda that they put on us, and we were going right along with the rest of the world, calling this man a dictator. Same with Castro and other people that may or may not have been dictators. But the point is, we need to go out there and do our own. We need to do our own research and do our own due diligence in looking up into what these people are actually doing. So I think the first and number one thing that we must do is highlight every chance we get, highlight the situation, because that puts the enemy at a very disadvantaged spot into being able to come in and trick us or trick the world. Because you guys got to remember that in order for them to go in and do military operations on certain nations and stuff, they have to convince the ICC, they have to convince the international court, even though we're not really members of it and we don't abide to it. But you can't, you'll be facing war crimes and stuff like that if you just go into nations unprovoked and stuff like that. So their number one operation first is to convince the American public that Libyans under a failed state and a dictatorship. Same with the situation in Haiti. The same with weapons of mass destruction. That is their first number one operative. Same thing that they're doing with the Iran situation. Iran done this and Iran done that. Iran is weeks away from a nuclear weapon, and this and that and that. They can't get uranium and all this and that they've been pushing on us for literally 30 years. That is their number one operative. So it is on us, especially people with platforms, to highlight what is going on and be fair, be down the middle, show both sides. I'm sure there is, even in Libya, I'm sure there was some actual unsatisfied people going on during Gaddafi's tenure. But, overall, the people were satisfied with the Libyan state. And you just look at the amount of things that man accomplished for his nation, it's undeniable. Same thing with this Ibrahim Traore situation. I mean, I'm talking about the gold reserves. I'm talking about getting them out of financial liabilities. I'm talking about stabilizing their economy, stabilizing their education, stabilizing their domestic affairs as far as housing and all those things that he is doing and working on. It's hard to, when you look at these things, to say that his people are unsatisfied with him. And even if the percentage is 2% of the people or 5% of the people, it's overwhelming in his favor. So it is our job to report on that and let the world know that this man is not a dictator. He is not running a failed nation. I've seen French report that South Africa and those nations over there are not ready for France's subjectal control. But they didn't say it like this. I'm putting it like this, but they basically said that part of the world is not ready to exist without France's hand in the pot and dictating situations. This is what France is saying. So they're already doing their propaganda. The West is already doing this propaganda against this man. So it is our job to report on this fairly and to highlight the situation so it limits the possibility for them to go in and exercise a military operation and kill this man, because that's ultimately what their aim and purpose is to put that nation into a failed state, go in and set up a democratic nation of their liking and choose their own leader. That is what we do. That's how we overthrow nations all across this globe. We've been doing it since the beginning of our colonization and neo-colonization of these territories. I'm trying to see if I can find just a quick video. They don't have nothing on them. Let me see if I can share this. But yeah, y'all tell me what are some other ways you feel like we can help and support this man. Obviously, there's other actual on-the-ground boots efforts and stuff that we can do. Let's see what's going on here.
Listing your vacation rentals on Booking.com opens the door to more guests, like this bunch.
Man. Hey, where's my video at? Oh, come on, man. So there's the man that's facing the 100. There's the boss right there. Shout out to him.
Уважаемый господин президент, дорогие друзья, мы очень рады вас видеть. И хочу вас в начале беседы еще раз поблагодарить за...
And I just want to highlight, as you guys can see, like as things begin to get more and more clear, we're seeing the line in the sand between alliances. Like I said, Ibrahim Traore meeting in Russia, along with other world leaders, including, I think, China, India. And you're just seeing the line in the sand on who's on what side. You got reported earlier this week that we reached an agreement. We reached a deal with Ukraine to still be able to control some of that territory as far as finances and global markets, trade, and also rare earth minerals. We reached an agreement with them for their protection just last week. And so you're seeing the line in the sand. Obviously, we know NATO members versus the axis of evil or BRICS or whatever. But my point is that we're seeing the tug and pull. We're seeing Burkina Faso, led by Ibrahim Traore, meet with the other side of our allies. So I'm just highlighting that to say we must be careful in falling victim to not only but just falling victim to our propaganda on these people. You see a meeting with Putin, who is not a friend of the United States or NATO members. And ultimately their aim and purpose is they're probably going to try to offer him some sort of protection and military protection in exchange for some of his global markets, some of his trade, some of his minerals that his nation provides, cobalt, obviously oil, all of those things, and gold. That will be in an exchange for him being protected. So that is what is going on currently right now with Ibrahim Traore. He has not joined BRICS just yet officially, but as we see, he is meeting with those leaders and stuff like that. So I'm just saying that this campaign is really fresh and current, and it's on us to pay attention to what's actually going on. So we're not caught up in the soup and on the wrong side of history on this one. I did also want to say in regards to that situation, it looks like there is some division, and I don't know if this is some sort of tactic, but it looks like there has been some division in between our ironclad stance on the protection of Israel and the situation with Bibi Netanyahu and Hamas with the Trump administration as of late. Trump and Bibi are not seeing eye to eye as of this past week, and to the point where we are talking about not protecting Israel. Trump is said to be meeting, I think, this coming week with Middle East members, part of the AEU and some of the Muslim countries in the Middle East. Trump is said to be meeting with them, and the thing is, Israel continues to violate ceasefire agreements or not want to agree to them or not want to bind to them. Even the one that we got in back a few months ago that was like a 40-day grace period that we had, a 40-day cease period. I mean, they terminated that. I mean, the minute that it was over, they started their bombing campaigning right away. So it seems very, very hard. And Trump and them said that he was proud of the Houthis and stuff like that. Like they agreed to, let me see if I can pull it up, that they kept their commitment. Trump, Houthis. That they kept their commitment as far as as long as Israel would stop, that they would stop. They would stop their bombing campaign. I mean, they would stop their missile strikes and stuff on ships and all these kind of things. As long as Israel stopped their campaign. And once it stopped, they stopped. So let me see if I can find it here.
We had a very good outcome with the Houthis, and we honor their word. I mean, they made a commitment, and we dealt with other countries that were close to them and their surrogates. And we honor all of their words. We'll see what happens, but I think, I believe that hopefully that's over with, and they'll leave the ships alone. Just leave those ships alone. But so we do. We take their word for it. It was, we hit them very hard. They had a great capacity to withstand punishment. They took tremendous punishment, and you could say there's a lot of bravery there. That it was amazing what they took, but we honor their commitment and their word. They gave us their word that they wouldn't be shooting ships anymore, and we honor that. We had a very good.
Essentially, y'all are hearing from the president there regarding the Houthis and that situation that I talked about. That situation continues to escalate, but now we're seeing the turn of events as far as Bibi and Trump not seeing eye to eye. Now, I do want to highlight to people out there that this could be a strategy by Trump. We know that he's the co-author of Art of the Deal, and that's kind of how this man's minds work as a businessman, negotiating tactics and stuff like that. And I also want to point out and highlight the fact that we've seen this, not the same exact situation, but we've seen a similar situation a couple months ago between Trump's administration, Trump and J.D. Vance, and also Mr. Actor himself, Zelensky. if you guys remember, Zelensky and Trump and JD Vance and them just literally 2 months ago almost came to fisticuffs in the White House in the Oval Office. They were wrestling around over an apology or a thank you that JD Vance told Zelensky he should offer the United States for providing them all the stuff that we provided them over the last couple of years. So, I mean, it was really, really bad. It was to the point where that meeting was cut short. Zelensky, who was supposed to be staying at the White House, did not stay at the White House. He did not return for, I want to say, a week or so. And then it was still shaky ground until they just started talks again with Ukraine. This was, again, like I said earlier, then met with a deal that we reached with Ukraine just as of last week, a minerals deal, rare earth minerals deal, where we were provided rare earth minerals, which, like I said last episode, we need that in this situation because you got to remember, on the other side of the globe, we are in a trade war. We're in a global trade war with China, who provides us plenty rare earth minerals, plenty of production, offshore production and things like that, but rare earth minerals particularly that include technologies, our cell phones, our cars, all of these things, to the point where everybody's talking about global markets crashing and everybody's all up in arms on this tariffs and what are we going to do, Honda, Ford, and all these different places. I'm hearing that Mercedes-Benz is talking about coming offshore, and which was Trump's plans. I'm hearing that Mercedes-Benz is thinking about some onshore businesses and stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes. But my point is that we are in desperate need of some rare earth minerals at this time. If we are in a trade war with other nations that provide that for us, we definitely need it from some of our allies, which includes Ukraine. So we were able to successfully breach a deal with Ukraine for some rare earth minerals. So I guess that's a win there. But my point being that Trump and Bibi is not seeing eye to eye right now. Let me see if I can find something. Trump, Israel, Netanyahu. Good. I found a little quicker video. Let's see if we can see what's going on.
This game, you're not ready.
That ain't gonna get it done. I need a video. What's going on here? She probably got.
No one was happier to see Trump elected than Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. But is that still the case? Trump's first term had delivered major wins for Israel. The scrapping of the Iran nuclear deal, the assassination of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani, the Abraham Accords with the Gulf states, and the moving of the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. Netanyahu expected more of the same from Trump's return. And it seemed that way at first, with Trump removing Biden's sanctions on some violent settlers in the occupied West Bank and lifting Biden's hold on 2,000-pound bombs to Israel. But despite the initial honeymoon, Israel Hayom reported that relations have reached a low point with mutual disappointment on both sides. Now, as Trump hints at a big announcement to come on Gaza and reports say he's pressuring Israel for a ceasefire, the president seems to have lost his patience with the Israeli premier and is making policy choices for the both of them. First was the Witkoff effect in January, when Trump's envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, pulled Netanyahu into a meeting on Shabbat and forced him to agree to a ceasefire deal he'd spent months rejecting. But the Trump administration has also been holding talks without Israel and with some of its staunchest opponents. Axios revealed in March that the US had been holding secret direct talks with Hamas without telling Israel. Then in April, the US and Iran began talks to limit Iran's nuclear program in exchange for the removal of US sanctions in their highest level contact since 2018, surprising Netanyahu with the news at a press conference. It's a similar deal to the one Israel encouraged Trump to scrap in 2018. With the US set to enter its fourth round of talks soon, Trump has said the deal is well on its way. But Israel's Channel 12 has reported that Israel is deeply concerned that talks are very, very advanced, that they will reach a bad deal that doesn't meet Israel's conditions, and that the US is not sharing enough information with Israel on key points, all of which it says is deeply disturbing. Israel had drawn up plans to strike Iran's nuclear facilities in May, but Trump rejected these, preferring a diplomatic rather than military approach, and Israel couldn't conduct the plans without US assistance. But it's not just Iran. One Israeli official...
So once again, another case of little baby Israel not being able to really exercise any power or any governance over that territory without permission from the United States. So it raises the question for me or anybody with a brain, how much hand have we had in the Middle East and in those operations on Israel's behalf this whole time? You know what I'm saying? But it's also a two-way street because Mossad, which is Central Intelligence over there in Israel, they're known. They are able to somehow get American politicians through AIPAC and other sources and stuff and blackmail to bend at the knee. So it's really funny to see this whole this Trump timeline with Israel and this whole war, you know, from the beginning when he's running on the campaign, I'll stop that war. I'll stop the Ukraine and Russia war in 24 hours. I'll stop the war in the Middle East and this and that in no time. You know, he ran on an anti-war, stop the war campaign, but then it seemed he got into office and he kind of changed tunes fairly quick when it came to that. And it kind of took people aback. And then if you guys remember, he launched a strike last month. He launched a strike over there in the Middle East as well and killed some civilians and stuff like that. So it seemed like he changed a lot of tunes on there. He also had threatened Hamas and said that by the time he assumes office, if the hostages weren't returned within 24 or 48 hours, I can't remember exactly what it was, there'll be big hell to pay. And then that led to the strikes that he did last month. But the point being, it seems it's a real funny thing that, a real interesting thing that somehow we always seem to bend at the knee to Israel's behalf. So we'll see how this timeline ends up playing out.
Said the country was blindsided by Trump announcing a ceasefire with the Houthis on Wednesday, days after the group's attack on Israel's Ben Gurion airport. Despite the Houthis saying that they would continue attacking Israel, Israeli representatives were unable to obtain information from White House officials until a full 24 hours after Trump's announcement. The US has been pursuing major policy initiatives without including Israel. It's talked with Hamas over the release of American captives, it's talking with Iran on limiting its nuclear program, and it's talked with the Houthis about their disruption of international shipping rather than their attacks on Israel. It's not a surprise, it's Trump's America First doctrine, which is also why his upcoming visit to the Middle East includes Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar, but not Israel despite its requests. Can't offer Trump the kind of deals he's hoping to sign in the Gulf. Or, as one senior Republican senator put it to an Israeli politician, why should he go to Israel? To help these deals, Trump has reportedly removed normalization with Israel as a condition for granting Saudi Arabia access to civil nuclear power, which had been a key point in Biden's planned deal. Instead, the Trump administration has warned Israel that it would be excluded from any US-Saudi deals if it did not end its war on Gaza. Haaretz reported...
Okay, so let's pause there. So that's the stance right now, that Trump, like I said, is traveling to the Middle East to meet with the UAE and other Saudi Arabia and Iran and different nations there, but he's doing it unbeknownst to anything to do with Israel. It's not a three-party negotiation. It's just between us and them. And he's threatening, he's using this meeting and this kumbaya as a leverage tool to tell Israel that if you guys don't agree to this ceasefire and stop with this Gaza situation, we will continue working and we will continue talks with these nations, and we might broker a deal between us that does not include any benefit of Israel. So that's the negotiating tactics he's using. So he's trying to pull out all the stops. But, you know, it kind of goes to, do you trust devil or the Satan? I don't trust Trump as far as I could throw him. So we'll see how this goes. I know that just months ago, he was, like I said, he was singing a different tune. He was talking about turning the Middle East to the Riviera of the Middle East and putting Trump hotels there and all this greater Israel shit that we've talked about on this platform. So I can't trust his word. It is my job to use this platform to kind of use the timeline and outline what's going on during these weeks to see where it leads up to and where we end up at. But we'll see exactly what this leads to. We'll see. I think a ceasefire is on the table, but I'm pretty sure that I'm hearing Hamas and even other surrounding nations, they don't want another ceasefire. They are looking for, because these ceasefires, like I mentioned on the last podcast, are, you know, they could be for 40 days, they could be for 60 days, they could be for 3 months, they could be for a year, you know, but the fighting continues right after that. These people are looking to strike a deal and really get that change that they were looking for. You guys got to remember that the whole point in Hamas's military operation, even though we know that Israel funded it, their whole point with the October 7th attack is to do that on the world stage. They positioned themselves perfectly, exactly how they wanted to. You know, the Hamas attack on October 7th highlighted to the world the situation that was going on in Gaza with the Palestinian people, and it put it on the world stage. It's not letting us forget that these people are basically under apartheid or under the control of another nation. But, you know, that's been going on for a long time. But, you know, as years go by, we continue to live our day-to-day life, and we get over it and stuff like that. So that what that attack does, it puts it on the world stage. It takes it in front of the ICC, and it gets the other nations of the world involved. You guys got to remember World War II. That was some of the tactics in World War II, you know, and it's positioned Israel to, for the first time in a long time, Israel looks like the bully. They look like the bad guy. So this operation that they've done has successfully pulled the cover off of Israel, and it has the American people, it has the West questioning some of Israel's tactics, some of their response, some of their military operations, and then even deeper than that, some of their governmental control and some of the occupancy that they maintain in our politics and our Western affairs and stuff like that. It's uncovered a lot of that and has a lot of the American people questioning these things. So, to Hamas's credit, in a weird way, they've successfully done their mission, because now we're talking about the ceasefires. Like I said, it's literally just a cease in fire. It's just a cease in the war, the act of war going on. They're looking to strike a deal. They're looking to get out from underneath Israel's control and their thumb. And now we know that Hamas is the elected governmental body of the Palestinian people, but not to the behest of the Palestinian people. That's not who they want. So unfortunately for this situation, a ceasefire does not solve this situation, is my point. Ceasefire does not solve this situation. It prolongs it. It buys us more time. It brings people to the negotiating table. It just buys everybody a little bit more time, but it doesn't necessarily solve the situation. Now, we know for years a two-state solution has been thrown out there, all types of things. So that is what is going on with this situation. And like I said, Hamas's job and their goal, and they still maintain, I think there's still some hostages that they maintain. They're not going to give up those hostages because that's their leverage. And then to Israel, on Israel's side, they're going to continue their military exercise in Gaza, in that territory, until the hostages return home. So it's just one of those stalemates where both sides seem to have a point, a logical or rational point in the situation. Now, a lot of people's beef is the way Israel's going about these things. Essentially, it's the innocent Palestinians that are losing their lives at the hands of the Hamas government's situation with the hostages. So a lot of the world is looking at this like, okay, we got to come to some solution to where the Palestinians who are innocent in this situation are not the ones being affected. Could you guys do, and I think early on, within a year of that situation, So I think in 2024 there was, or maybe it was 23, I can't exactly remember, but there was a military operation on ground, like boots on ground operation, which is what more people are pushing for, that they go on ground. Now we know Hamas allegedly, submerges themselves into there's underground tunnels under hospitals and all types of shit like that. But everybody's point is that you cannot continue to flatten Gaza. You cannot continue to flatten the Gaza Strip. You cannot continue to bomb Rafah and all the other exercises that you guys have done, and just kill innocent people in the name of Hamas. So again, we're at a stalemate, but Trump's leverage seems to be that if a ceasefire is not reached, so the bombing and stuff can stop just for a little bit, that he will negotiate with surrounding Muslim countries that is not in the betterment of Israel. So let me see. Let me finish.
On Friday that Trump has pressured Israel to reach a ceasefire with Hamas before next week's visit, warning that Israel would be left on its own if it did not join the US in making progress. Unlike the Gulf, Israel seems to be losing, not gaining, connections with the Trump administration. Jared Kushner, who played a key role between the two countries in Trump's first term, has stayed away from politics in Trump's second term. Israel's typical strategy of pressuring US presidents by using other politicians as counterweights has not worked either. Netanyahu and his strategic affairs minister Ron Dermer thought they had a back channel into the White House via former national security advisor Mike Waltz, who was a traditional Republican foreign policy hawk. But Trump dismissed Waltz for coordinating with Israel about potentially striking Iran without him. The rest of Trump's cabinet believed that the US should either reduce its force abroad or redirect it to China. And whereas Netanyahu used congressional Republicans to try and corner Obama, he can't do the same now. Republicans are all loyal to Trump, and so there's no one to outflank the president with from the right. The two remain in cooperation over Iran nuclear talks and plans to bring aid into Gaza, for example. But the US seems to be making its own decisions on the region, leaving Israel to catch up afterwards. It seems Netanyahu is finding out that America first really does mean America first, even for its closest ally.
Producers, this.
So there's that video. I just do, like I said, I would like to say, although that's what it's looking like right now, we got to be careful because I've seen, like I said, the roller coaster, the up and down of this Trump administration when it comes to the Israel situation. So we'll see. Right now, it seems like he's basically trying to isolate Israel if they don't want to reach a deal. But we'll see. And I mean, by next week, it could turn in Israel's favor like we've never seen before. Like I said, he's already made comments earlier this year about turning that region into like Trump hotels and stuff like that, which is so disrespectful to those people over there. And also, it's just really funny. It's just really crazy that, again, last year, we were thinking China and South Taiwan and Asian, South Pacific and all that stuff there, which I guess this war that I'm about to talk about is still in that region. But the India and Pakistan situation over Kashmir, wasn't really on the bingo list. Now we know that those neighboring countries have been at war since 1947 as well. And they're both nuclear powers. But my point is that we got fires all across the globe right now. And it's just really hard for us to continue to be the world's policeman, especially when we've had our hands in a lot of these situations. But it gets to a point where we're so stretched thin that it becomes a real liability, or it becomes a danger to us as a nation, how stretched thin we are. You got to think, we got our hands in Ukraine and Russia. We got our hands in the South Africa situation. We got our hands we're going to have our hands in the Burkina Faso's Ibrahim Traore situation. We got our hands in Israel, the biggest, most explosive, what's the word I'm looking for? War that we want to suppress the most because it can ignite the whole Middle East, which is Israel and Israel and Hamas and Iran. And you got that situation going on, bubbling up. Like I said, Ukraine and Russia. And then now you got India and Pakistan. And then who's to say that the final piece on the chessboard moving isn't China moving in over there on to Taiwan, And that would just change the game. So on top of all of that, you also have a trade war, a global trade war. You got us beefing with Canada for a little bit. You got us beefing with the Gulf of Mexico. You got us. There's beef everywhere. There's fires everywhere. And I know that, we've selected or elected this president. And as things kind of like easing in, everybody kind of got their mind off of it a little bit. Things seem to be subduing. But you guys just got to remember that these wars, once they're started, it's a long process before they cease. So, we're going on. I mean, it's been 3 years since Russia and Ukraine. We're going on 3 years of the Israel situation. These are going to be long operations and long and drawn out, and they're literally just siphoning money and draining the West of money and material and manpower, as well as we got people, some of our military officers and army and stuff like that is in some of these wars. They're involved in some of these wars, so it really puts us at a really dangerous position for our own protection and stuff like that. So that's really all I got on there. I'll have more on the India and Pakistan situation there. Like I said, they did reach a ceasefire at the hands of the United States, I think, in the past couple of days. So we'll see. That is still a developing situation. Let's talk about somebody that y'all know just gets on my nerve bad. See if I can find it. Now this player here just irks me bad. Let's see.
Enter your frame of mind at this time of year. Like, for example, because it's the Lakers, because it's you and Luka, it's like it's all about how did the Lakers lose this series? Really, what happened here is Minnesota's a hell of a team and they won the series. Like, how do you deal with some of that when you try to process all this?
For me, I've definitely learned over the years that teams win championships, and it's never always teams always win championships, and yes, individuals get a lot of the accolades and the praise, but a collective group wins championships. Now, you have your big guys that make big plays at the end of games, throughout the game, or whatever the case may be, but ultimately, teams win championships, and I understand that, and it's never just about me and Luka. It was never just about, Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle. It was always Minnesota versus the Lakers. And I understand that. And I am at a point in my career now where I don't lose sleep over that. Like, fuck, how did me and Luka lose? No. Well, yeah. Well, there's 8 other guys on the floor. Yeah. So of course. So
so there's y'all's guy. There's y'all's leader of y'all's Los Angeles Lakers there. Basically omitting himself from any fault or wrongdoing for the first round flank out with Luka Doncic. It's just, as it's been highlighted, the hypocritical stance of this man, which is being exposed to the point where the man, after we've joked and laughed about him the last 2 years about him being a compulsive liar, him and his team got real creative and decided to actually come out with a commercial kind of leaning into the whole I lie situation, which is really weird when you think about it. But whatever, it's a really good marketing situation. Like I've always given Clutch credit for this. I've never not said that they weren't clever or smart. I just said that they were manipulating and liars. But what better way to do it than to lean into your own flaws and your own little tricks that you do? You can lean into it to suppress the fire and suppress some of the rumors around it because you're making such a joke about it. But yeah, they got a commercial out there about him like being on the first page of a book, not reading. We all know the fucker don't read. But here he is in great LeBron James fashion saying in double talk, politic talk, it's really not about, I'm not tripping. I'm not losing any sleep over the game or me being out in the first round with another top 3 or top 4 or 5 player in the league. I'm not really tripping about it because, it's not really about just us 2. It's about the other 8 men. Well, we know. And I follow this sport enough to remember that y'all were saying Austin Reeves was the best third option in the league. So there's a third player. So you got 3 out of your 5 starting players really good. I remember Rory Hachimura not being in trade talks because him and Austin Reeves were pretty untouchable in trade talks, and Rory playing his ass off. I also remember you trading a lot of these players to receive what you've gotten. So the Lakers had a really good fucking team this year, especially after the Luka Doncic trade. And for you to act like this team wasn't designed to win a championship or anything like that, or it's not your fault because there's 8 other guys, is just really admitting yourself from those 8 other guys. Yeah, there's 8 other guys, but those 8 other guys done their job. That's just the simple fact of the matter. The fact of the matter is you did not show up in multiple fourth quarters in this series, confirmed, and allegedly you had an injury, which again, that will be your doing and your fault itself. You did not play up to standard. Luka couldn't guard a fucking, the better thing, LeBron, since it's not about you and Luka, it would have been better, and I would love for you to go out on a limb and you to isolate yourself from Luka. But of course, you won't do that because Luka has his own team and Luka has his own greatness and Luka has his own stature and stuff like that. So you won't just come out and say, well, Luka couldn't fucking guard nobody. And there's 9 other players and Luka has to be better and we have to be better with Luka. And you won't hold, not only do you not hold yourself accountable, but you won't hold another superstar on your team accountable by name. You'll just kind of do what you did with Anthony Davis, all this passive aggressive shit, but you'll never call him out publicly. You'll never say Anthony Davis and I have to be better, even though, well, you will say that. I've heard you say that, which is really funny now that you're changing the tune, saying that 2 guys isn't the makeup of a championship team. When I've heard you say multiple times, and I'm going to pull it up, that it's on me and Anthony Davis. It's on me and him as the leader of the team. It's on me as the leader of the team to get. But now all of a sudden it's changed. Now all of a sudden we're talking. We got to like highlight the 8 other guys. I mean, it's plain bullshit. And this is the shit that I'm talking. This isn't just the shit that I'm talking about. This is the shit that I'm talking about with LeBron James. When I've been calling him out for these 15 plus years, it's been this shit right here. And you could check my track record. It's never been about the guy's numbers that I can give a fuck less about. It's never been about the guy's talent. He's one of the most talented human beings that ever graced this planet. It's little shit like this. It's this deep, dark-seated insecurity of his that he masked by deflecting blame. And to me, like I've said before, it only robs himself of the opportunity of actually being great and actually being like the GOAT. He very much well could have been the GOAT if he would take accountability and responsibility, but you're dealing with a spoiled child. And I know some of his upbringing wasn't the best and stuff like that. And shout out to Gloria James. Happy Mother's Day. Great woman. She did all she could to provide for this man. But I'm just saying, let's just be real, guys. I don't give a fuck what you guys got to say. At some point, a single mom cannot raise a man. She just cannot do it. This is why LeBron James was actually turned over to other people late in his teenage years and went to Catholic school and St. Vincent, St. Mary's and stuff like that. Because it comes to a point where you just can't raise a man. And I do think that I've always said it, and it's no shot at LeBron James. It is, but it's not. I'm saying it's no personal shot at this man. I just think it's based to do off the circumstance. You got Kobe and Mike, and we say that they're cut from a certain cloth. And I think a lot of that cloth that they're cut from, guys, is having a father. And I'm not trying to be funny, and I'm not trying to disrespect any of my fatherless viewers out there and shit like that. But I'm just saying, to me, I've watched these 3 guys' careers. I mean, not Jordan's, but I know a lot about it and know a lot about him and his dad's relationship and shit. There's something about that cloth that we're talking about, that DNA that him and Kobe possess. It's something about that they are men's men. Like, they've been molded by another man. They've already looked up to another man. There was another man there veering them along the way of their development, but also able to hold them accountable. So they're used to accountability, because when you got a father in the house, or you got a father raising you, one thing that you're going to learn is accountability. One thing that you're going to learn with a father in the house is accountability. I mean, more times than not all the cases, but a good father in the home, he's going to hold you accountable. And you're not going to be so insecure in that department to where you always deflect blame. You look at a lot of men, like a lot of a man's man, a part of that is taking accountability from all types of leaders, all types of sports icons, all types of entertainers and stuff like that. it does become about, no, I control this. This is on me. I even heard Jason Tatum, after putting up dud after dud, Jason Tatum is known for inconsistent play in the playoffs. But I wish everybody would calm down about that, by the way. But that's a topic for another day. But I've heard him, even in his most recent press conference, say, no, like, I got to be better. This is on. It's just simply on me. I just got to be better. I didn't play good enough. Speaking of that, let's look at
this thing. That's my fault because I didn't get us prepared to run our automatics. I didn't get Gary. I didn't get Carl. I didn't get the new guys on board enough to be able to execute properly. And we got to Detroit and it forced us to play our offense 94 feet and we weren't ready. And we couldn't do it. And everything just capitulated from there. And that sits with me. That sits with me because we should have won that.
Easily.
Yep.
Ben Wallace guarding me.
That's ridiculous. See, what they did, the whole strategy was move the pressure up.
Yeah.
If you move the pressure up, it takes away Shaquille as a threat because now they have to harbor the ball up the court with pressure on the perimeter. So now that forces Shaq up. So now if he has to catch the ball at the top of the key for our automatics, he's not in the paint. Now that takes up all the seconds, all the time in the world to be able to trap him. Now you got to swing it. Now you're running late on clock. You got to force up a shot. And that was their whole plan. On the Pistons thing.
That was the late, great Kobe Bryant owning up to one of his low moments in his career, by the way. Not only was it a loss to the Pistons with the super team, Los Angeles Lakers with Gary Payton and Karl Malone and Shaq and Kobe. It was their last, hoorah. I mean, but this was the low point in his life. I mean, facing a rape case and all types of situations like that. And here he is owning up to the fact that he said, I did not get these guys ready for that. That this was on me, period, point blank. And that's what you want in a leader, man. You don't want to be following behind somebody that literally can't say where no shit stinks. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to be following behind somebody that's going to, in order for them to hold you accountable, they got to be able to hold themselves accountable amongst you. You know what I'm saying? It can't just be behind the scenes and stuff like that. No, you got to be able to hold yourself accountable if you're going to be a great leader. So, again, it's just really pathetic that LeBron James does this, and he doesn't just do it. He does it often. Here's another clip of Kobe Bryant holding himself accountable.
As a follow, do you maybe need any more help out there? I mean, nobody had more than 15 points. You had 38. Nobody had more than 3 assists. You had 10.
That's not what wins championships. Everybody wants to talk about the offensive side of the ball. It has nothing to do with it. You got to defend.
As a follow.
And that is my point with Mr. LeBron James right there. I've been saying this since his Golden State situation, since the little rivalry with Cleveland and Golden State. It would always be, we need more help, we need more help, we need more help. And you look up, Kyrie's averaging 30, Kevin Love's averaging 18, LeBron's averaging 30. And I'm like, it's not about the offense. Y'all don't need more offensive help. I've been saying you haven't been taking the ownership and the pride in playing defense for the better part of 10 years, my guy. You know what I'm saying? You don't need more help. You need to play defense. You, LeBron James, you need to play defense. Here Kobe Bryant is in the Western Conference Finals. A reporter asks him a legit question, do you need more help? You got a guy only scoring 10 or 15 points and you got 38 points. And he looked at him like he had 3 heads. He said, more help? No, I don't need more help. We need to play fucking defense. The points is enough. What we did offensively is enough. The production that we're getting, it's enough. We need to stop the other team from getting more. And LeBron James fails constantly to even mention that or breathe on that situation. Again, in his clip that he had when he literally separates him and Luka from the fray, but talked about it's a team. But here you are isolating the fact that you and Luka are separate. You say me and Luka, but there's 8 other guys. Well, why don't you just say me and there's 9 other guys? Why'd you include you and Luka? Oh, you include you and Luka because y'all are the clear 2-cut difference makers of that team. You are the 2 stars. So, but my question is, why didn't you call Luka out on defense? You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna literally separate you and Luka and isolate the other 8 guys who you're alluding to didn't produce enough, apparently, for y'all to be a championship team, why aren't you highlighting the fact that Luka was a cone on defense and he scored 30, but he gave up 35? Why don't you bring that up? And that's my problem with you, man. That's my problem with you. You're really not about the game of basketball on the court. We just heard Kobe break down actions and the Pistons pushing them up forward and not being able to get the ball to shot, all that kind of shit, right? The real detailed shit. Here, LeBron James is on the Steve Nash Dick Suck podcast, which he got another little co-host to just Dick Suck, where you're fake talking about X's and O, but you're really your real whole goal on that podcast is to change narratives and outside narratives and stuff like that that's placed upon you and your teams. Your goal is to go up to Pat McAfee and shit on the 70s and 80s and the great players before you so you could change narratives. Your goal is to have Rich Paul go on a media campaign and say Chris Bosh wasn't a top player and y'all didn't really have a big three to change this whole narrative. Your goal and narrative is to really, in order for you to shine, you have to try to dim someone else's light. Kobe and Mike did not have to do that. They did not. They did not ever slander you publicly. They don't have to do that for them in order for them to shine. And that's my issue with LeBron James is he has a deep, dark-seated insecurity about himself, and it shows, it manifests itself in so many ways. I'm glad that the Lakers are out. I'm glad that the LeBron James Lakers is out of the playoffs so we can actually focus on basketball. The Warriors are down now 2-1 to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and boy, did they blow an opportunity last night. They had control of that game pretty much the whole game. Minnesota couldn't hit any kind of shots from outside. Even Golden State couldn't hit shots from outside either, but they controlled the tempo. Like they controlled a lot of that game last night, but they ended up blowing it in the final minutes. And what do you know? I think Jimmy Butler didn't score in the fourth quarter, which is really, I'm giving him a pass because he is known as a clutch player. Jimmy Butler will show up when it's least expected. You know what's weird? My mic hasn't been plugged up this whole fucking time. I'll be damned. Give me a second. I sure hope everybody was able to hear me this whole time. But yeah, they really blew a real opportunity because if Golden State could have gotten game 3 and gone up 2-1 against the Minnesota Timberwolves, that would have bought Curry another game, and he could have come back with the series tied 2-2, or potentially the Golden State Warriors being up 3-1. Now they put themselves in a do or die situation. They cannot afford to go down 3-1 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So next game is literally a must win for the Golden State Warriors with or without Curry. I don't know the timeline. I mean, I know the timeline on his injury, but I don't know what the report is. I think they got 3 days off. Let me see when the next time the Golden State Warriors play, because I do know that in between games there was a 3-day period, but I think that's not this coming game. I think it's the game after. Warriors, Timberwolves. I think the next game is tomorrow. What's today? So the next game's tomorrow, and then oh my Lord! So the next game is tomorrow. Then the game 5 is going to be Wednesday, and then they'll have a 3-day rest between Wednesday and Sunday. So Golden State's in some trouble. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves was able to gain a lot of confidence last night. Julius Randle, I think, ended with a triple-double, 24, 10, and 12, if I'm not mistaken. Anthony Edwards just looked like a man among boys yesterday out there. Once he got going in the second half, I think he scored 26 points in the second half. So he just looked like a man. And that's the thing. Anthony Edwards is pretty inconsistent. He gets away with it. Tatum does not. Jaylen Brown gets away with being inconsistent. Tatum does not. And I'll get to the Celtics here in a second, but I just wanted to highlight their inconsistencies. But Anthony Edwards can score on that Golden State Warriors team anytime he wants. Although Golden State has a great defense, I do also want to highlight the fact that the Golden State Warriors was winning this game, and even in the fourth quarter, they was controlling much of this game until Draymond Green fouled out. And I got a friend out there that's a real big fan of the Golden State Warriors, and I've been telling him for years that Draymond Green continues to cost this team. His attitude, and I know that I'm going to try to find this clip. I know that Draymond Green says that there's a campaign out there, which there probably is, out there to portray him as an angry black man. But the thing is, Draymond Green, like, I watch you objectively, and I don't care what you're talking about. You know, I'm not this and I'm not that, dude. Let me see. I'm gonna find this video.
Angry black man. Look like the angry black man. I'm not an angry black man. I'm a very successful, educated black man with a great family. And I'm great at basketball. I'm great at what I do. The agenda to try to keep making me look like an angry black man is crazy. I'm sick of it. It's ridiculous.
And this is my problem with Draymond Green. He's a very smart brother. Very smart brother. Very great defender. He will be a Hall of Famer. Four-time champion, you know, all that. He's going to go down in the history books, right? Part of one of the great dynasties that we've ever seen in the NBA. However, his lack of self-awareness has cost this franchise maybe 2 championships and maybe more championship runs. He has an extreme, and I mean extreme, lack of self-awareness. You mean to tell me there's a whole, you know, conspiracy out there, cabal of people out there trying to paint you as the angry black man? Like I said, maybe so. You sure do help them a lot. You know what I'm saying? You help them a lot. I mean, you punched 3 people during the Rockets series. Then you foul out again. You literally, last game, not the past game, but the game 2, you literally get a technical foul, and then you're in the ref's face literally screaming at him as you get a technical foul. You know what I'm saying? Adam Silver has had to step in, and he's babied you all along the way. So haven't Steve Kerr and Stephen Curry. I both accused them of abetting your bullshit, because they just literally condone it. They literally enable you 24/7. No one calls you out because you are the vocal leader of that team, and you're the angry black man. So you get away with being that, and you're demonstrative. You're screaming every time I look up. I know there's a video out there that's going to prove. Let me see. Now some of these are just real actors, but look, you know what I'm saying? The feet is always kicking somebody. We're simple. Really? Elbow? Bradley Bill wasn't gone. I watched that game. When he kicks people, bro, I'd be crying. His legs drive me up a fucking wall. Him flailing his legs like that literally drive me up a wall, because it's 24/7, dude. And like I said, it's the boy who cried wolf. We don't care if you accidentally didn't mean to kick him in the face this time. You've done it 20 fucking times, dude. And you also punched your teammate. You literally punched your teammates, and they hid the video for a long time. What do you mean that there's this campaign to make you as the angry black guy? No, you literally go out of your way, whether you got a technical foul, whether you got 13 technicals and the 14th one is going to be a suspension. You don't care about none of the rules. You're literally irrational, and you lack self-awareness. That's the truth, Draymond. And I'm sick of everybody enabling you, dude. You are the angry black man. We're done. We're done. I'm done. Okay? So stop screaming. Stop it. Stop it. I'm going to find you yelling. Draymond Green yelling at ref. That's all you do, bro. That's all you do. That's all you do. You cost them the game yesterday.
Draymond Green right now all over Nick Booker. And he threw his arms down at the officials, not receiving a technical.
Look at him. That's all you do. Wonder what this is. No, that ain't it.
A review here.
Another elbow.
Got a chance. Got a chance to be upgraded to
well, the foul will stand on Naz Reid. He fouls him right there. And so you're looking
now that wasn't that. But every time I look up,
because all he's trying to do is draw the foul, and now Draymond is just yelling at the official, very, very frustrated. He's got to get control of his emotions. I understand the frustration, because I don't think there was any intent there. But the referees are calling the game the way they expected him to. Steph Curry now trying to calm him down. Draymond.
Shout out to Curry for at least trying right there. But that's my point. And these are literally minute. These are light situations that I've seen. I've literally seen Draymond just go AWOL on referees.
So he's upset. Giannis Kuminga getting the start. If you're just joining us inside Green, partially blocked by Şengün. He's upset. Oh yeah, he earned that one. He wanted that one. Oh yeah, he earned.
Watch him run the referee down.
He's upset going after the official. It's going to be a technical. Oh yeah, he earned that one. He wanted that.
See, somebody make a collage and send this to Draymond. What do you mean I'm not the angry black guy and there's some campaign to make me the angry black guy? You're literally the angry black guy. You literally are. I don't care what nobody got to say. I'm watching it. We're literally watching it. So, yeah, I'm sick of him. He fouled out yesterday, cost them the game because they definitely needed his defense. And the Timberwolves went on a run, without him on the floor. So, you blew another game and potentially cost them another championship run, another series, because now you're down 2-1. Y'all cannot afford to lose game 4 at all. Y'all have to win game 4. You cannot afford to go down 3-1 without Curry, with Curry coming back from an injury. So, we'll see. See how it goes. It's been a good series so far. The Boston Celtics and New York Knicks. I'm going to just keep this real short and brief with you guys. The Celtics are going to win this series in 6 or 7. I think probably 7 games. The Knicks can't beat them. I think I've seen a graphic where the Celtics, and I've watched the games, the Celtics have controlled majority of the whole series from about 82 of the possible 100 minutes. The Knicks have just come back late in the games and go on a run, and they do got the clutch player of the year in Jalen Brunson. Say, give me a fucking break. But the Knicks aren't good enough of a team. They can't beat the Celtics. I got the Celtics. I had the Celtics when they were down 2-0. I said, everybody shut up. They're going to win this series. They go into New York and stomp them, beat them like they stole something. And they're going to beat them like they stole something in game 4 too. So, the Celtics are going to win this series. But my conversation really stems around 2 things. We do this whole weird thing with Jason Tatum every year. He's going to have bad games and stuff like that, but his success when he has good games, nobody says a thing. Jason will give you 37, 12, and 8, 2 steals, 2 blocks like it's nobody's business and nobody bats an eye. I think personally, over his tenure, he's been the better or the more consistently great player, playoff performer over Luka, over Anthony Edwards, and over Shea. Shea is going on. He's almost 30 years old. He's going on 7-8 years in the league, and he hasn't done anything. And he gets to get all the benefit of the doubt. He's playing like shit so far in the playoffs. He laid an egg last game. I don't even think Shea has been good this playoffs so far, or great at least. And he gets off scot-free. If these were Tatum, and everybody just says Tatum is a carry, he gets carried merchant, but you got the Oklahoma City Thunder beating the Denver Nuggets by damn near 50 points or so a couple nights ago, and Shea barely had to do anything. You know what I'm saying? And Shea didn't do anything last game, but shoot brick after brick. Shea didn't do anything game 1 that they won. Game 1, the first game that they lost. So it's just, I just want to highlight the inconsistencies and the fact that y'all pick and choose when to pick on this new class of people and when not. Anthony Edwards did not look good in game 2 or game 1 of the Golden State Warriors series, but no one batted an eye really. Another thing is, a lot of detractors out there try to split Tatum and Brown up, and what they do is it's the whole Kobe and Shaq narrative, the whole Kyrie and LeBron thing, or whose team is it, who's the better player, who did Jaylen Brown wins Finals MVP last year, but he don't carry none of the responsibilities as the Finals MVP. He doesn't carry. Jaylen Brown can give you a 2 for 12 game and then come back with a 5 for 15 game, and nobody says a word. It's all about where's Tatum? Where did Tatum do this? that shows me who the best player is, right? You know, it's always good when it's good for Jaylen Brown, but when it's bad, it's always crickets. Nobody ever says anything. Nobody has a word to say about Jaylen Brown when he's very, very, very inconsistent. Jaylen Brown is very inconsistent. Now, I will say he does show up in the clutch. He does show up in big games. He always shows up in big games. Not always, but typically he shows up in big games. And he shows up in big games more than Tatum does. So that's where some of that narrative goes, is that Tatum will show up, you know, for the majority of the time. He's a lot more consistent than Jaylen Brown. But when the rubber meets the road and the going gets tough, Tatum does seem to kind of struggle a little bit with those pressures. And then Jaylen Brown seems to kind of help ignite and rejuvenize the Celtics during those games. Another person that is just cold-blooded to me is Derek White. Derek White is almost like an enhanced Derek Fisher. I don't even know. He's more like a Manu Ginobili. He is a great player on a loaded team, and he doesn't get the credit he deserves. But that boy comes to play all the time. He's very consistent, but more than that, he is big time in big time games. So shout out to Derek White. I think Derek White has always been the key to the Celtics championships, hopes, and stuff like that. And I definitely, like I said, I think that they're going to beat the New York Knicks in 6 or 7 games. And I think they'll end up facing the Cavs. I think the Cavs might somehow pull it out against the Pacers. We'll see. I know Halliburton dropped the fucking dud last game after going up 2-0 against the Cavaliers. I haven't really watched that series. Not a real big fan of either of those teams. But I'm excited about the Denver Nuggets and Oklahoma City series. The Oklahoma City Thunder is now down 2-1 after being a 68-win team, having probably the MVP of the league in Shea. But I just think I always thought that Denver was a little bit too much for them, but we'll see. We'll see. I think that series is definitely going 6 or 7 games. I just think Jokic is such a superior player than Shea. I think Shea is just a product of the regular season. I'm not calling him James Harden or anything like that, but I just think that when the playoffs come around and the defenses get tight and it's more of a half-court offenses and stuff like that, you got to showcase more of your skills and in-between game, which Shea is really, really great at. He has a great in-between game. I just don't think he really has the athletic prowess it takes to really be able to cut through NBA defenses and stuff when the game slows down. So we'll see. But like I said, that's a 6 or 7 game series, and it could go either way. What else is going on? You got the Pope. The new Pope has been announced. Let's see if I can have anything on the new Pope, and then I need to get going. No cap. But new Pope has been announced, and his papacy has started. I think that he's actually going to have his first speech today. I think his first speech is supposed to be today. It might be right now. Shit. But Pope Leo, he's the first American-born Pope. Let's see.
Last time I counted, there was 8 billion of us, all chasing our own story.
Sono un figlio di Sant'Agostino, agostiniano.
I want y'all to know that this man prays to a black Jesus and a black Mary. You know what I'm saying? So
NBC's Claudio Lavonga is in Vatican City. Claudio, what do we know about what happened at that meeting this morning? And can you explain to the viewers who don't know why this is so rare?
Well, Alex, as far as meetings go, it doesn't get more historic than this one. As soon as we saw the two popes together, we knew that this was a one of a kind. They were both dressed in white, of course. The only difference being with Pope Francis was wearing a little sash and a little cape there. Pope Benedict XVI, the emeritus, of course, walked to the helipad in his walking cane, looking very frail, waiting for the Pope Francis to arrive in his white helicopter, and they embraced in a long embrace. That was one of the first moving moments of this historic meeting, because after that, they went into the summer residence, went to into the private chapel to pray together, and Pope Benedict XVI offered to Pope Francis.
Oh, they barely wanted to show it. Fuck y'all. Fuck y'all. They barely wanted to show it. Just know that that's who they pray to. And my point in saying that is that this is the Vatican. They hold a lot of the religious secrets and a lot of the science behind religion. And when the separation between church and state began, they contain a lot of that information. Don't judge me. But yeah, we do have a new pope. I do believe he is going to make some sort of announcement today. I think that they're coming up with his agenda, his first little agenda that he will have. The Cardinals and the Cardinals will be helping him come up with an agenda. But it was really interesting to see this whole process with the conclave and the black smoke and the white smoke coming out, and the new election of the Pope, because we haven't seen it in my lifetime. We've maintained Pope Francis for a long time, who has now transitioned, and now we are under the midst. We're under the midst of a new Pope. So we'll see. I will say that these people have a lot of they have a lot of respect across the globe, and they carry a real position. We talk about presidencies and the toughest seat in the House, or toughest seat in the world, toughest job in the world, and stuff like that. But the Pope and this Catholic Church and stuff like that, they really have a lot of power and jurisdiction over some of our central belief systems, how the Catholic Church goes, which is a very, very, very powerful entity in this iteration of time. So we'll see more to come on the new Pope Leo, and kind of see his papacy and what goes on with that. Lastly, I want to touch on. Let me stop. Finally. All right. Sorry about that long delay, man. I lost my live stream up here. But anyways, I wanted to talk about the Kendrick and SZA tour that is just shattering records left and right. It looks like an amazing tour. I'm gonna see if I can find any clips of it, but I'm just hearing great things. I'm hearing that this is next level, and it's really funny because Beyonce's on tour right now. A couple things that I want to know is that Kendrick did MetLife back-to-back days, I think Thursday and Friday. I mean, and this we're talking about in the middle of the NBA playoffs. We're talking about Beyonce being on tour at the same time, and this man is selling out stadiums of 70 and 80,000, sometimes 50,000 stadiums. So it's just really, really, really impressive to see. We've never seen it. I want to continue to highlight the fact that we have never seen this done in hip hop before. So for the people out there trying to figure out what to compare it to, or like how to find a new angle or slander or this, you ain't gonna be able to. You ain't gonna be able to because we've never seen it before. We've seen somebody do one or two, never seen a stadium tour like this. And I mean, I don't want to get struck down. I mean, he's bringing all types of people out. I mean, celebrities are coming out. They're taking their kids out, and everybody's saying it is an amazing show. Let's tap in and see what the Breakfast Club had to say as they were all in attendance on, I think, Thursday.
Successful. What is the big issue?
Yeah, Drake just needs to shut the F up ever. And I want Drake to know that there's no bigger stage than culture. As Kendrick said, you can't fake influence. Way before the Grammys, way before the Super Bowl, that record was already out of here, okay? Yeah. And Drake gonna have to sue the world because I watched everybody in MetLife Stadium sing that song word for word last night. Kendrick didn't have to say a word. He didn't say a word.
At all.
Even the people that work there, yo.
I was about to say that.
Everybody sent it down. I'm like, damn.
I was coming into the suite as back into the suite as it was like starting up, and people were literally running because they were waiting for that. Because I think it got dark, and then it came back up. People were running because they wanted to see the moment.
As soon as you hear, I see dead people.
Yes.
It was crazy.
Went crazy.
How many times did he perform it?
Just once.
We hate DJ Envy. Shut up.
This record of all time. When you really listen to it and you listen to the things that he's saying, it's very, very disrespectful. I know that there's been diss records that have talked about killing people and sleeping with people's wives and all of that type of stuff, but it's that Not Like Us is very nasty.
It is nasty, but yo, I'm telling you, nothing beats Euphoria. It is.
Not Like Us.
Euphoria is crazy. He performed that last night too. That was lit.
Euphoria make you want to diss people.
Yes.
You want to be in a rap battle.
Yes. So when he's doing that, is SZA still on stage or she walks off? Oh, she walks off.
Here's the thing.
Back and forth.
Here's the thing. I'm so sick of this narrative. This narrative that, like Jess Hilarious said, Euphoria, lyrically dense. It's literally all, it's all verses. It's all rap through. There's no call for action. There's no reverb. There's no chorus. There's no hook. There's no none of that. It's just all verses, and it's a lyrical, exercise, right? But this idea that Not Like Us is not, that it was just it was a hit. It was an automatic hit. But when you listen, like Charlamagne said, it's the nastiest diss record we've ever heard. I know that y'all heard it a million times last summer to the point where it got beat down to the ground. So it's like, but the lyrical content in that is superb. And the fact that this whole notion that he was out-rapped or Not Like Us, and Not Like Us wasn't supposed to be a lyrical. No, it is, and it was. And there's a lot of lyricism in there that people just, for some reason, want to gloss over as if they weren't bars. I mean, we don't even got to get with the quotables. The song is out of here when it comes to the quotables. But I'm talking about the actual bar. Even the whole A minor was a fucking bar. It was a bar. The whole second verse. It was a masterclass of a rap song, just in iterations, lyrics, puns, punchline, comedy, vocal inflections, vocal performance, chorus, hook, all of that. It was just a masterclass. So this whole notion that Family Matters, he out-rapped Kendrick on it, poppycock. If you just put them on paper, side by side, the lyrics on Not Like Us is extremely more dense and better. So I don't even know. I mean, I know where this narrative comes from. It's Drake fans' last hope. They're trying to find some sort of like exemption for him. They're trying to find some like feather in the cap for him, some little arbitrary thing that they can give him. Like, okay, well, yeah, I guess he fake lost the battle, but he really actually didn't because he really out-rapped him. They've been trying this shit since Pusha. But it's really funny because when the whole Meek Mill thing came out, we were just like, well, Back to Back was definitely a smash. We definitely heard it, but Meek actually had better lyrics. So it didn't count then. You were laughed out of the gym when you said that. Then it was all about, well, we don't care because is it a girls tour or a world tour? You know, that's all people kept saying. But so lyrics really didn't matter then. But I guess when Pusha T smacks you up all summer long, oh, well, Drake really out-rapped on Duppy. No, he can't, and he didn't. Oh, well, Drake really out-rapped Kendrick and them on Family Matters. No, he didn't. No, he did not. And if you want to be technical and for real about the situation, the most lyrically dense song in the whole entire battle, probably of the whole entire year last year, was 616 in LA. You want to talk about lyricism and pure rap wit skill? 616 in LA trumps Euphoria, and it trumps Not Like Us, and it damn sure trumps Push-Ups and Tailor Made and all that trash that he put out. The fact of the matter is the man made mad mistakes along the way. He lost, and we just want y'all to, if y'all would have just taken y'all's L humbly and acceptantly, we would be done and off of this shit. The battle is over, guys. Kendrick and SZA are on tour smashing records, okay? They're doing $11 million a show. So, like, get over it, guys. This is the king and queen of hip-hop and R&B right now, and y'all can either get with it or lay down. And that's just the fact of the matter. That's all I got for today, man. I got to get moving. Shout out for everybody in the chat. Shout out. Please share, comment, subscribe to the channel, but share it for a friend as well. Let's get more interaction next time. I guess everybody was in their Sunday's best. It is Mother's Day. Shout out to all the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful mothers out there. I know that they say your mother gets thanks 3 or 4 times before the next person in your life gets any thanks. You know, who should you be most thankful for? Your mother, you know, and a person that brings you to term before you were aware of anything deserves your utmost respect forever. And you should always respect your mother and your father, but definitely always respect your mother for that. She brought you to term before you were not, before you even knew anything. It was her and Allah. So shout out to all the mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day. I hope everybody enjoys themselves today. Throw something on the grill, go out, spend time with their children, their family. It's great weather today, at least in the city that we live in. So everybody go enjoy themselves. And I'm about to go tap in with my mother. Signing out. Peace.